The Buzz with Jess
Good evening, Guam.
Lujan.
I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to this edition of The Buzz. I thought it'd be fitting again to talk to the folks from the solar industry to explain to us exactly about solar electricity. Tonight we have Jeff Villacolo and of course Joe Rosario. A lot of people know Joe and yours from the industry and in particular the company here with Micronesian Renewables, right?
We are.
Yeah, okay. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for joining me this evening on The Buzz.
Thank you.
Let me start off with this. Solar electricity, what exactly is that? Because there are different components of that. There's solar water heating, solar car, there's mirror components, there's solar panel. Explain to our folks again. I guess this is solar power 101.
Sure. Well, what we do as a company is what is referred to as photovoltaics. And you're right about the solar water heaters. That's referred to as thermal. So we're on the photovoltaic side, meaning that
PVs, right? It's known to
PVs, correct.
Yeah, okay.
So we provide electricity for facilities versus thermal. It's just providing hot water for that facility. We provide a whole facility power solution, and photovoltaics has kind of been the same principle since it first started. The first solar panel that was installed back in 1954 in New Jersey. That solar panel today is still working, right? And those principles of solar back then is the same as now. Sun hits the panels go into an inverter and into a facility and powers up the facility. Well, today, the only thing that really changed is maybe the technology. Efficiency increased, the size of the panels got smaller. These things are going to last forever. But the principle of the sun hitting the panels into the inverter, into the facility, basically the same thing.
Now, let me ask this because, as you said, solar electricity is not something new. Back in '55, I remember even before I moved back to Guam. I think this was in the '80s. I think that there were companies that were selling, I think, solar. I think mostly for hot waters. I think or something like that, right?
Correct.
And they would install these big panels and all that. And I don't know if it's the servicing or lack thereof, or panels blown away during the storm and all that. But it became where quite a few people bought it. But then kind of maybe went on the wayside. I don't know if the company maybe buckled up or all that. Again, the company, the industry has grown. There are more than one company out here in Guam doing this right now.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, and so would we get a repeat of the '80s then, that when people were sold the solar?
That's a great question. I've been in this business for 38 years, but really specifically started installing solar energy about 17, 18 years ago. At that time, the solar energy was about $14, $15 a watt.
Okay.
Just because of the economies of scale now, the technology getting better, the technology now becoming mainstream, you're looking at, even here on Guam, doing solar installations for sub $3 a watt, which is just incredible. And the technology's gotten a lot better. So not only do you have a lot of skilled workers who know solar energy now on the island, other companies coming in, economies of scale, prices going down. So the industry really has changed significantly between where you were back then and now, and the industry really is here to stay.
So 2012, 2016, you said some of that technology in the 50s are still being used, those panels. What has changed then from then? Because if I'm not mistaken, again, I hadn't quite moved back, but at the time that people were buying solar, there were mostly solar components, again, to heat their water up,
correct.
I think, right? I mean, correct me if I'm mistaken.
No, you're not. You're absolutely correct. And I think the reason for that is the price of solar. If you're looking at $14 per watt, multiply that times 10,000 watts, because that's about an average size home. But keep in mind, Jess, that those solar water heaters that you remember are still working today.
Still working today.
Absolutely. The technology, you can rely on it, you can count on it. Solar is absolutely proven and proven on this island. There are some systems that have been installed in the 80s, 90s. Now we're seeing them a little bit more efficient. So they're smaller. They come smaller, a lot more reliable.
Yeah.
They're going to last you 50, 60, 70 years.
Now, what contributed again to the growth of solar electricity now? I mean, of course, I think what really expanded that is the cost of fossil fuel. That has kind of gone down. I mean,
Sure.
I don't know whether it's going to stay down or not, but that's kind of driven it. And of course, the attitude of more green energy, more solar power, more alternative power than that, right? But we also have, we have an upcoming election here. We have the Republican side that says, hey, we want more fossil fuel, more coal-powered, more coal and things like that. So on the Democratic side, they definitely want to move towards more alternative energy. So
Right.
you have a play here. If one administration gets in, do we say the industry suffers more than the other? So the attributed to this, and is there enough to sustain it now even if a Republican will win?
Yeah, on the, and this is back to the mainland, on the general election,
Yeah.
you do. I mean, both candidates right now are opposite ends of the polls, right? Where Trump is, big oil, as we all know. Hillary more towards the renewable energy side. But a lot of things have changed over the past 10 years where a lot of private equity now has gone into renewable energy. I mean, even a lot of and we're even seeing it here, one of our investors, Sonova, most of that money is oil and gas money. So the oil and gas industry in Texas is supporting renewable energy.
Yeah.
And it's making, that money's making its way out here, which is good for us and good for the community of Guam. But I think if Trump does get in, he talked about rolling back the ITC tax credit and this and that. I think that's really going to be an impossibility. I don't think that's
It's got
ever
to deal
gonna be
with
done.
Congress. I don't know if he's
Yeah,
not to
whether
do
it's
with Congress
supports it or
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
But I think the industry is going to grow regardless. I really do. I think the oil and gas industry will get some support from him, but I think our renewable energy industry is here to stay.
Now, how do you compare this again to, of course, solar? What's very popular, which she doesn't support. I think Hillary doesn't support fracking. I guess.
Correct.
Yeah, and they said this is gas now. This is gas. We've got an overabundance of this and all that. So the combination of all these, would we go back again to gas, the LPG type things, or I know what's being proposed for Guam. I mean, I'm going like, whoa, the infrastructure out here again is the I guess the liquid fuel, right?
The lack thereof
Yeah.
of
I'm like,
infrastructure.
Right.
I mean, what would our power rates be if you don't have the infrastructure in place? And my understanding is the government will provide the infrastructure. You guys are a private entity. You provide the infrastructure for that, right?
Well, let's go back to your initial question about fracking and digging for LNG. First of all, LNG is not a renewable source, right? So that's in the ground, but you have to drill and take it out of the ground. It's not renewable, so it's going to run out. Versus the sun, there are guarantees that the sun's going to come up tomorrow. I guarantee you that. But fracking further than that is that now you're chancing poisoning the water of wherever you're pulling it out of the ground, and there's data to prove that. So it's not good for our planet. It's not renewable. I say the safe bet is on renewable again because the sun is going to rise tomorrow, and you're seeing it. Jeff mentioned Sonova getting a lot of their investment from oil and gas, but further than that is these top executives, philanthropists. You're talking about Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. These guys are taking billions and billions of dollars of their money and investing into renewable energy. And the last I checked, those guys know how to invest money, right? They do it right. So they usually put their money on the sure bet, and I would too. I would bet my last dollar that renewable energy is here to stay.
Now, when you're talking about, of course, renewable energy in regards to solar in this solar electricity here at this point, we talk about net metering. Okay, net metering. What exactly is net metering? Because net metering is your meter is going backwards. The meter is going backward. What exactly does that mean, and how does that work? Does it really go backwards?
Absolutely. It's actually a billing mechanism that GPA has, that if you're house is producing excess energy, that electricity has to go somewhere and it goes back into the grid. And they have a really good net metering program that they keep track of that electricity. And at the end of the month, they show you what you sent back into the grid. They show it as unused credit. The good thing about the net metering program is that at the end of the year, if you have any unused credits, the utility right now will either roll it over to the next year or pay you back money at their rate, the dollar for dollar rate. It's a great program right now.
Wow, wow. And we have that in place now.
We
right?
have that
Yeah.
in place, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. You know what, let me pay some bills and we'll come back. We'll talk more about net metering, a little more about how that works and whether or not individuals can power out their complete home.
Sure.
They can run completely off of solar electricity.
Thanks, Jess.
Be right back.
Thank you.